I'm the current chair of Eric's Club, an 80 graduate of the college, and absolutely thrilled to welcome all of you here today. For those of you that don't know, in 1999, Dr. Jennifer Meaux founded Eric's Club to honor Eric Hilton and to honor our alumni. I bring you regards from Dr. Meaux. This is our 41st lecture. I believe he has missed 3 of them. He is getting up in age, as he will be the first to admit, and had an opportunity to go up north and spend some time with his family. And so, much to his complete chagrin, will not be with us today. Eric's Club members must have graduated from our college from one of our programs and be out of school for about 20, or at least 20 years. And that means some of us are old, many of our recent graduates are not. And they have to hold significant positions in the industry or an allied industry at a CEO or a leadership level. Eric's Club's primary mission is to support you guys, the students. And everything we do is an attempt to do that. And so the first thing I was asked to do is, behind me, remind all of you students the QR code to check in is there. Please make sure you do it. Okay, I've done my due diligence on that subject. You know, we do a number of things for the college, including lecturing in classes. Some of you have had the opportunity to meet some of our Eric's Club members this semester. We've got about 1/3 of the Eric's Club members that are actually speaking in classes this fall, in person or by Zoom. And it's a thrill for all of us. And so this is another nice piece that we get to do. I would like to introduce to you and ask the members of Eric's Club, just so you all see them, they're all sitting in the front row. Would you guys just stand for a moment? Just so everybody sees, and we have quite a few of us, and we're really thrilled. I would also offer a special welcome. Every year, Eric's Club nominates and accepts new members, and we are thrilled that 2 of our newest members are with us today. Anna Schmidt is the Vice President of Communications and Corporate Social Responsibility for the Venetian in Las Vegas. Anna is here with us. And Bill Hendrick, and I should say one thing about Anna. If you happen to talk to her outside, she's been somewhat involved in this little project in Vegas that just opened called the Sphere. So you might want to talk to her about some really unusual things. And then Bill Hendricks, who's the general manager of the Hotel Hershey. And Bill is with us. And I meant to ask Bill, and I'll have to do it later, in his literature for the hotel and in his bio, he's the only guy I know that runs a chocolate spa. Okay? So you're going to have to tell us about that another time, please. Absolutely. Before we kind of continue with the Eric's Club stuff and the reason we're all here today, I want to put a slightly different hat on for a moment. I am, along with, I guess probably Jason McCann is the only other one in the room that I know of, members of the university's Board of Visitors. And one of the things that is, oh, I'm sorry, no, I take it back. We're the only 2 that I can think of. Some of you may know, and if you don't, you're certainly going to hear this quite a bit in the next month and a half or so, next month. On November 7th, Proposition 5 is on the ballot in Texas. Proposition 5 establishes something called the Texas University Fund. It is a $3.9 billion permanent endowment to 4 schools, 4 Texas schools, including U of H. The first thing I'm going to tell you why you should vote for it is because it's not going to cost you anything. This came out of surplus money. And the endowment, University of Houston will get, literally the day it passes, hopefully, knock on wood, $1.3 billion in endowment money to be used for student scholarships and faculty research, which will help propel us towards the goal of being a top 50 university. There is actually no cost to taxpayers. It was approved by the legislature The entire legislature, over 90% of the legislature, Democrat, Republican, Independent, there is no harm to it at all. We are not the only school. The two major schools that are not in it get their own money. Okay, that place with the burnt orange color, and those guys, you know, up in College Station, they have a totally different fund. We are never going to be part of that fund. Okay, so this is a permanent endowment. It will throw off, and no one knows exactly how much yet. It will throw off 4 or 5% a year. Well, 4 or 5% a year on $1.3 billion means the university is going to be sitting here with a lot of extra money on an annual basis, for which there is no negative reason. Now, state employees are not allowed to talk about this. I'm not a state employee. I don't get a check from the state. I can say vote for it. Okay? The chancellor can't stand up and say vote for it. There is no harm to it, so I would ask you guys that when you do vote in November, that you consider voting for Prop 5. It benefits all of us, and as I said, in all seriousness, there's no negative to it. So let me kind of go back to the Eric's Club stuff. What I would like to do, before we go any further, is introduce Dean Dennis Reynolds, the Dean of our college, and the Baron Hilton Distinguished Chair, and a member of Eric's Club for a couple of comments. Thank you.
State employee, I can't endorse Proposition 5, but the President, President Couture did teach me something. She just does this. So I didn't say anything. It's number 5. Anyway, so are we excited? Yeah. Nice to see a full house. You guys look great. It's going to be a really good morning. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. Dan and Jennifer, it's going to be what I think you said to me yesterday is the best lecture we've ever had. Sorry, I do that every year. Sorry, it's just kind of what we do. We're excited. Eric's Club is a great organization. We're very proud. And they don't like when I say this, the elite alumni. But we have some amazing alumni in this college, and we're very proud of all our alumni, and that includes all of you. Because even if you've only gone to school for 1 semester, where's Mike?
Right here.
Right? So even 1 semester, you're an alum.
Well done, Dean.
Okay. I'm slow, but
I'm a state employee, and I can tell you, can't tell you how to vote, but I'm voting yes on Prop 5.
Oh, we're bad. So please give it up for Dan and Jennifer. It's going to be a great day. So thank you. Go Cougs!
Go Cougs!
So the tradition is that the previous speaker at Eric's Club introduces our guest speaker. So I would like to ask Mike Krzelski, was the speaker at our last Eric's Club lecture in April. Mike is the managing partner of United Sales and Services. Mike's lecture, for those of you that didn't see it, is available on YouTube. But it was a testament to hard work and grit and a great sense of humor. This is, as you already noticed in the back and forth between the dean and Mike today, this is not a timid group. Okay, the Eric's Club group is not. So Mike would teach us, I think, always to not take ourselves too seriously. Mike is a 2017 graduate of the college. I'm sorry, Mike is a 2017 member of Eric's Club, and so I'd like to introduce Mike to kind of take it to the next point, Mark.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
morning. It's great to be here. My name is Mike Krzelski, and I graduated from the Hilton College in December of 1978. So I'm glad to be able to be invited back. So here I am. It's my privilege this morning to introduce Dan and Jennifer Meaux. They'll be our speakers today. And I think we have a quick video to show. Are we ready to show the video?
To have in Houston area.
Crawfish is amazing.
We take a lot of pride in the quality of crawfish that we put out here. Our customers are extremely loyal.
Yeah, I've been coming in for 17 years. They're great crawfish. I love them.
Hi, my name is Dan Meaux with the Crawfish Shack.
My name is Jennifer Meaux, co-owner of Crawfish Shack in Crosby, Texas.
Well, I grew up in Rayne, Louisiana. I thought what better than to do is open up a crawfish restaurant in Houston. That way we could give it a little bit of Cajun back to Texas.
Let me tell you guys, the best crawfish ever. Crawfish season is the first 6 months of the year in Texas. And during the season, they need to be big enough to mess with.
We call out all the small ones. So you're going to get a medium and large mix here.
This is the best crawfish place around. They're a nice size, they're not small.
There's a lot of ways to see the crawfish.
You want to straighten them on out there. You want to twist them like this here. Drop the head. Take 2 layers off. Grab the tail and pinch.
One thing you must get out is the yellow fat content inside the head.
Something in for all the juices. It's the whole chemistry of the crawfish.
That is the best part of the crawfish. Squeeze the head, get all the fat and juice out of it.
There ain't nothing left in there. It's all the good stuff right there. You're going to miss out if you don't get it.
I never sucked the head. Seasoning is probably the #1 thing that contributes to our success.
You pick a lot of different spices. It's hot but not too hot, so it appeals to a wide range of people. It's better than any I've had in New Orleans or anything. It's just so good. It's good.
This is not really a local thing. This is people that drive from 20 to 50, 60 miles away to be here.
I pass a lot of places coming down there because they ain't got them authentic crawfish and taste great all the time.
When we get really crowded, we can be on an hour and 20-minute wait.
So the wait here is not like you're just sitting down waiting on the table at your regular restaurant. They can bring in any alcohol. You're out there drinking your own beer, listening to music, hanging out with your buddies. They really feel like it's a backyard party. I think that's what sets us apart.
This is the only restaurant that we actually enjoy, and we look forward to waiting outside.
We come here, we have drinks, and we talk and get together, and we make it an event.
Working with my husband is great. We're very strong in a lot of areas, but we both have areas that we are more passionate about. Have a good evening. Thank y'all.
He handles the whole front of the house, which is everything to do with the customers. And then I handle all the back of the house. The kitchen, the purgers, the cooks.
When Dan came to me about opening his own restaurant, I thought he was crazy. He left a very stable job to pour a lot of money into a dream.
Our first year was terrible. I thought maybe I really messed up.
Originally, the restaurant was planned to be a drive-through only, but as we opened, people began asking us to open tables, so we just kept growing.
It's good. The crawfish is amazing. We've been coming here every year for the past 4 years, and we wouldn't change it.
Absolutely, worth the drive, and this crawfish, man.
You know, a lot of people say that when they mention Crosby, first thing that comes to mind is Crawfish Shack. Pretty rewarding.
And there's your crawfish. Real good.
I don't know about you, but I'm hungry already. In January, I think, is when they said they opened. It is a privilege to introduce Dan and Jennifer, and also to mention that their 2 daughters and significant others are joining us here today. So your restaurant certainly is a family-oriented restaurant, and the family's involved in the restaurant as well. So I really look forward to the lecture today. I know so many of you may be interested in opening your own restaurant or doing your own event someday. And what I found fascinating, you started with a concept and it has evolved. So without any further ado, Dan and Jennifer.
So I suggested they play the video because I'm sure the majority of you haven't been to the restaurant, and ABC 13 contacted us 4 or 5 years ago and wanted to put together a feature on crawfish for the Houston area, and they contacted us and came and filmed for a couple of days, put together a really nice video that's been shown millions of times, so we thought it'd be good to show it to all of y'all today. First off, thank y'all so much for the invitation here. It's an honor for us to be here. I want to thank Charles Darn and Eric's Club for the invitation here. Oh, sorry about that. He had already said. So we brought a recent picture of our family here. This is all of us here with our 2 grandchildren.
This is our daughter, oldest daughter, Mackenzie, and her husband, Brian Ballard. And her boyfriend, Marshall Toby. All work in the restaurant as a family. Everyone has worked there from very, very young age. They learn to work. We are very, very blessed in life, but we work very hard for it. I also want to say a little shout out to Christopher Cole here. I had no idea he's a student, but he's actually been a 7-year returning employee for us.
So anyway, for about a month now, I've kind of been stressing out about this, and this is, you know, we have just a small single restaurant in Crosby. We're not a big deal. We really love what we do, but for the last month I've been preparing, kind of wrote out a speech, went to the computer, typed it up. It ended up being about 9 pages, with Jen doing some of that, some of it, because I figured we'd have about an hour to speak, and I typed it up, went on the porch, set the timer on my phone, sat on the swing and started this speech that I thought we would present, and in about the first 2 sentences I knew that that was a big mistake. So went inside, told Jen kind of the dilemma that we had, and she said, Charles said, you're just going to tell your story. So that's what we're going to do here today. We're just going to tell our story, and we hope you enjoy it. Also, I know a lot of times that the questions are all asked at the end. If anyone has any questions throughout, we'd be happy to answer them. Just raise your hand while it's fresh in your mind, and we'll answer those at any time if that's okay. I know it's kind of a little bit different. So it's actually the Hilton Hotel that brought me to Houston from Louisiana. I was over there, had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Well, I was actually in 8th grade. My oldest brother, he had a best friend that was a Marine. And I'd see him in his dress blues, big stocky guy, and I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So I decided that's what I wanted to do with my life. So all through high school I met with recruiters. Then my senior year, I blew my knee out playing football. So I had surgery, had metal put in my knee, and after graduation I went to New Orleans to enlist and take the physical, and had the x-ray, and they saw the metal in my knee and said I had to have that removed or they wouldn't allow me to enlist. So I ended up trying the Army. They said the same thing. So at that point I had no idea, because that's all I had ever planned on doing. So I decided to go and work offshore. That's what my older 3 brothers had done. And a lot of people in Louisiana and South Louisiana work offshore in the oil and gas industry. So went out, did that for about 6 months, and realized this is definitely not something I want to continue to do. It's a hard life, and I was looking for something better. So I decided to go to college. At that point, none of my family had been to college, none of my cousins or anyone. So I went to USL in Lafayette. Had no idea what I wanted to major in, so just started at general studies and joined a fraternity. Probably wasn't the best thing. Actually lived on campus, or right off of campus at the Strip, which is 6 bars, and I lived with 3 fraternity brothers. So there wasn't much school getting done, and lots of classes getting skipped. And so anyway, I got a job at a Hilton hotel in the restaurant as a server, and I immediately fell in love with the restaurant business. I figured out that that's what I wanted to do. So I went back to USL, to the college, and changed my major to restaurant management. They had a very poor program at the time. There was only about 50 students in the whole program. And I heard that U of H had one of the premier programs in the country, and I also had a sister living in Pasadena at the time. So I decided to change my, decided to do the transfer to Houston. I remember telling my parents that. They said, well, that's fine, but we're certainly not paying for it. You're pretty much flunking out here at home. If you think we're going to pay for you to go to another state, that's not going to happen. So I said, all right, I'll pay for it myself. So I transferred here. I actually had a job at Eric's when I got here. The Hilton College did amazing with the transfer. I worked here for 3 months in Eric's, and then I went on to Pappas Seafood House on I-10, PAP 2 right there, and worked there for about 5 years, all through my college year.
I grew up in Channelview, right on the east side of Houston. Graduated from Channelview High School in 1991, and I got a job at Pappas Seafood on I-10 when I was 16 years old as a hostess. So that was my first job. I worked at Pappas for about 7 years combined. Did all the positions, worked my way up. I began my college career after graduation at San Jacinto College North to take my basics. I could live at home that way, and I worked right there. It was the best case scenario for me. First day of class, one day, economics. My friend and I were the first people in the class, and I sat down. She sat right behind me, and this guy walks in to class, 50, 60 other seats available, and he sits directly beside me and proceeds to ask me for my phone number because we might need to share notes. I educated him that I did not need his notes or anyone else's, but he was persistent. So he eventually got my phone number, and we began dating several months later.
So there's a little bit more to that story. I really always enjoyed the first day of class, or the first class of each semester. I would kind of map out each class and how to get there real quickly, and I would make sure I'd rush to each class, stand outside, and wait for a hot chick to go in. And of course, that's how I met the love of my life.
All right. We both worked at Pappas all through college, through the transfer here to Hilton College, and it was an excellent experience. Fabulous training program there, fabulous people, amazing mentors, and they helped pay for a third of our school because we were working a certain number of hours per week. Anyone who works for Pappas knows that's about 60 or more. So you're working the entire time, you're working, but it was a huge blessing in our lives.
Yeah, so I also worked, as we said, Pappas Seafood. That's an amazing company. The training level there is incredible. It's first class operation, top to bottom. I was a server, head waiter, floor manager, bartender, bar manager, kitchen manager. Did pretty much just a little bit of kitchen manager, but did everything there throughout high school and got amazing work experience there because I absolutely knew that the restaurant business was what I wanted to do. So I wanted to get the best experience, the best education here. So after graduation in 1996, I interviewed at other companies. The thing with Pappas, it takes so long to get to the top. The general manager position there is very exclusive, but it takes a while. And I was hoping to get the general manager experience sooner because I wanted to own my own restaurant. So went on to Boston Market. It was a young company at the time. There's very few of them here now, but back then, it's kind of a upscale cafeteria. Back then, there was kind of just growing up, and got on with them, got hired. I made general manager within 13 months. I ended up managing 3 different restaurants for them, general manager for them. So I got amazing work experience doing that with both companies, and then the general manager side of running everything was definitely a real big plus for us.
So Dan left after graduation in 1996. I continued on with Pappas. In May of 1996, I welcomed our first child. That was tough, finishing my last semester of college as a new mother, but I made it. I did it. First Christmas, 1996, she was 6 months old. I worked at Pappas. I was the floor manager for the evening on Christmas Eve. Dan also worked at Boston Market. Neither one of us were home with our new baby for her first Christmas, and I had a problem with the checkout. So I didn't get out of there until about 3 a.m. on Christmas morning. That was hard. I began to realize that it might be very difficult for both of us to be in this type of position with a young child. So he was making the big bucks at the time, not me, so I began looking elsewhere for employment. I wanted to be in a service position. I liked to talk to people, but I knew that it couldn't be those hours. It had to be something more manageable so that I could be home with her. So I, May of 1997, gave my notice to J.R. Noble and told him that I was jumping into the oil and gas industry. I started at an entry-level position, not making very much money at all. Obviously had no experience, so I had to prove myself. But quickly, I advanced in their sales department. I worked there for 15 total years. Over that period of time, we welcomed another child. And when I left there, I was their sales manager. So that gives you a little background on where we shifted.
So, as I said, after the management experience with Pappas and then general manager with Boston Market, decided I was ready to own my own. Told Jen I'm ready to open up a restaurant, a crawfish restaurant, and she thought definitely thought I was crazy at the time, but I was ready for it.
We had just built our second home, but our home that we live in today in Crosby. So we had a nice big new mortgage, and he came home one day and said, "I'm quitting my job and I'm going to open up a restaurant." I about died. What about money? What are we going to do? What if it doesn't work? What if?
So I said, let's take the leap.
Yeah, it was very scary.
And being from Louisiana, and back then, the quality of crawfish in the Houston area was pretty poor. Now there's lots and lots of crawfish restaurants. The quality has gotten much, much better. A lot of people from Louisiana have moved here. But this was back in 2003. There was very few places serving crawfish, and so I decided crawfish was what I wanted to do. If I'm going to stay in Texas, I want to do crawfish. We had just, as she said, moved to Crosby. We loved the community, so I decided Crosby was where we wanted to have our business. There was no one else serving crawfish there. There's 5 crawfish restaurants now in the little town of Crosby, but at that time there was no one there. And so we chose Crosby. The next decision was find out what the next decision was to find out where we're going to have it. And one thing that I did learn here, the most important factor when you're choosing to have a new restaurant is location. And actually, I think I was taught that's probably 1, 2, and 3, location, location, location. So when you decide, it's critically important. So I searched throughout the small town of Crosby and found a small lot on the corner of Highway 90 and 2100. It was just really gravel, a little parking area, but it was visible. It was the busiest traffic in Crosby. So I found out who owned the property, met with him, and was able to lease that property for actually $600 a month. Ended up buying this small 10 by 12 building, which is what you see here, and moved it there. And my dad and brothers helped me build the lean-to here for the drive-thru. We built a boiling room here and just a little screened-in porch, and we got the utilities. We actually had this place opened up in about 3 months for about $2,000. So we started our business extremely small, and because, as I said, we were actually the very first boil and go or crawfish to go in all of Harris County. When the gentleman gave us our permit, he said that this is the first of this concept in the Houston area. Where I came from in Louisiana, they were all over. Boil and goes were everywhere, so it wasn't here yet. So we got open. The first day was excellent. Well, it was pretty good. We did 49 sacks, so I was excited with that. 49 sacks of crawfish, so we thought that that was great. The second day was terrible. We did 1 sack of crawfish. So we quickly found out that the Houston area wasn't familiar with crawfish to go, boiled crawfish to go.
People were literally, they would come up and ask, can we bring a table and chairs and eat in your grass? They just didn't want to take it home to go, which I understand, because I would rather eat it at the restaurant. But every day, never failed, there were people bringing tables and chairs and sitting it there and eating it, and they would pack their stuff up and leave every day.
Yeah, a lot of the husbands would say, my wife don't want me to bring this home, don't want to smell in the house. And so so the first year was really slow. We were worried and panicking, but I said, I got this, we're going to make this work. So we buckled down. We only had about 2 to 3 employees. So we realized that we needed a seating area. So the second season, or in the off season, we built a little patio, which would be on this side of it, and we built 4 picnic tables, and the second season we opened up our patio. We did much better. We still had people sitting in the grass with bringing their own tables because we were filled. So we quickly outgrew this spot.
All along, I worked my 8 to 5 job, and I was the gopher. So I would leave work and run to Sam's and pick up whatever he needed, potatoes, corn. My car was often this way going down the road. We were not big enough for a Cisco delivery or Benny Keith. Nobody wanted to deal with us. We weren't that big. So everything we needed pretty much fit in my car. So I was working there when I wasn't at my 8 to 5 job, and our children literally grew up playing right there in the grass behind the building. So
anyway, as it started getting better, our third season was absolutely the breakout point. We actually exploded. I think going back to location, when we started getting busy, it was like a snowball effect. People are driving by, they're seeing so many people there, they're like, wow, this place is really rocking, we need to try it out. So it really, when it started to take off, it just really exploded. So we knew we needed a bigger place. We knew we still wanted to be on 2100, the busiest, the main road of Crosby. So I was talking to my barber, Joe, that had a barbershop 2 miles up the road, and he owned the property. Telling him my dilemma, and he said, well, you need to buy this place. Well, there was a whole acre of frontage. I was like, there's no way I can afford this place. And he says, yes, you can. I own the property, you can. So he said, I just want to stay here with my barbershop, and there was a taco stand. He said, we want to have them stay here also, but we'll move to the side and you can have your restaurant. So,
and he really wanted to see us succeed. He was a blessing.
Yes, absolutely. So I went to the bank, tried to get a loan, got a loan, got the construction of the restaurant tied into the loan, and we started building it. We opened up. My dad again helped me basically do everything there. He wired our entire building. That's our current building there. So Dad helped me out. We opened up in February of 2008. We went from having 4 tables here to 10 tables there. We thought that was a huge jump. But then again, quickly,
Still lines. Still more tables being set up. Still more chairs.
We're going to Sam's, buying tables, putting them in the grass, growing and growing and growing. So we were adding on to our business for many, many years, or actually probably the first 5 or 6 years that we were open. And it was
the new location.
Yep.
So April 2010, it's Easter week. Easter is like Super Bowl for crawfish. Big, big week for crawfish. I'm at work dealing with my daily things. Phone rings. They page me overhead. It's your husband. So I answer the phone and he says, "We need to talk." And he's frazzled. He's upset. He's like, I need to tell you something. I was like, okay. He said, "I cannot do this by myself anymore. It's too much. I'm overwhelmed. You have to quit your job." So 15 years I found my identity in another industry, made my way in another industry, a very male-dominated industry at the time as well, and he dumps this on me. So we came to a compromise. Basically, he asked me to give them 6 months notice and tell them December of 2010 would be my last year with them. So I did. It was a huge struggle. Lots of tears, lots of just pushing and pulling, and he kept reassuring me, this is what we've worked for. This is what we wanted.
Our dream.
Yeah, this is the dream. So we did it. I made the leap. And January 2011, I was officially on board with Crawfish Shack 100% full time.
So now we're going, we just had our 20th year anniversary and we're going into our 21st season this coming year. So that's pretty much our story. We jotted down some things that we feel that kind of sets us apart from other restaurants. I think authentic Cajun food is what people come for. Of course, I'm from Louisiana. My last name is Meaux, so that people know I'm Cajun. I grew up with crawfish ponds basically in my backyard my whole life, or while I was there. And so I have the background. I'm Cajun. And our menu is only 6 items, but it's all Cajun. Of course, spoiled crawfish, hot-boiled shrimp, and snow crabs.
It's simple, but we're very good at everything on that menu.
Right. So I make my own chicken and sausage gumbo from scratch. Make my own crawfish etouffee from scratch completely. I make a 55-quart massive pot, and it's like the gumbo, it lasts 3 or 4 days. We go through a lot of our product. I think that's also very important to keep it simple and keep it small, because the faster your food goes, it's fresh, it's moving out, there's nothing sitting there. So all the items that we have move very fast, and it's been a big blessing. So another thing I think sets us apart, of course with a crawfish restaurant, I always knew the most important thing was the flavor. I don't care how good you cook your crawfish, the quantity you get, how good you cull through them, how good you clean them, it's only going to be as good as the flavor. So I worked really hard in perfecting my seasoning. I think we have a picture of it there. Oh, there it is. So it's got 19 ingredients. I changed the recipe probably about 12 times. I lowered the salt content 3 times. I find that's what most crawfish restaurants have, is their seasoning is way too salty. I think some of them do that to make you drink more beer or spice, but we're BYOB, so that never really mattered. But I thought that the seasoning needed to be absolutely perfect. We sell a massive amount of our seasoning. We sell a lot in all season. We ship it all over the country. So that's another really big part of our success there. Another thing I think is our atmosphere, the restaurant. It's very festive. It's a party atmosphere. Crawfish is kind of a social gathering. You're not just going to a regular restaurant to eat. You're going to have a good time. So,
modeled after a backyard party. If you can imagine a backyard boil in Louisiana where they throw the crawfish across the table, we don't do that, you know, health permits and codes and all that. But it's like a backyard party, and that's how we always wanted it to stay, to feel like a backyard party, like you're going there with your friends.
that's kind of why we wanted to play that video. It kind of gives you an idea of the vibe there. We play good, loud music, a lot of Zydeco music. It's BYOB, we mentioned that. That's also another big plus. People can bring whatever they want. They can come in with a big cooler, bring in shots, bottles of wine, you name it. You bring whatever you want in. We don't sell any alcohol. We have all the other drinks, soft drinks and everything. So everyone's allowed to bring in any
Type of alcohol.
right. You want to talk about service?
I think superior customer service, a wow factor. We have all table service once you're in the restaurant. Every section has a server, and it's 100% table service. Nobody's walking around to pick up their food or place their order. And we encourage our employees to interact with the guests, get to know them, ask them their name. That is such a personal thing when you get to know their name and you talk to their children and you have a speed rail on you. Even though we're BYOB, have a wine opener on you. Help the customer. Offer, can I do that for you? Open the beer. Throw things away. Connect. You want to build regulars. You want them to come back and ask for you. So that benefits us and it benefits that server. Going to increase their tip on their per person check average.
Another thing that we do is we empower our servers to make it right. They don't have to come get us if there's an issue with anything. And we encourage them to have open-ended questions. We don't allow them to say, is everything okay? Because the customer might say, it's okay, and then leave not very happy and not come back. So they need to ask, how is everything? How's the crawfish today? And when there's a not perfect comment, our servers are going to pick that plate up, find out exactly what's wrong with that order, take it back to the kitchen and remake it. They don't have to come get us. Now, when they take it back out to the table, if there's still an issue with it, they get us involved. We continue to make it right. We want every single one of our customers to leave happy if possible. Obviously, happy customers come back much quicker. And bad customers will probably spread the word, and you don't want any of that going on. Another big part of our business is catering. We do a lot of catering. We have, I think we have a picture of a catering trailer. We have a nice big catering trailer for big jobs. This job right here, we were at the North Shore Rotary, which I'm also a member of, but we do 5,000 pounds of crawfish every year for this event. We've been doing that event for probably about 17 years. We do about 30 to 40 catering jobs a year. About 30 of those are actually on site where we go and cook at their location. It's been a big part of our business. A lot of times we're doing catering jobs that we go to a new area and they've never heard of Crawfish Shack or never been to our restaurant, and they try our product and they're amazed and they absolutely love what they have. So we're bringing new customers to the restaurant from doing catering throughout the area. So it's been a big plus for us also.
And our catering does book early, so we already have 2024's catering schedule building. So people do realize they have to get in early, and they're already booked.
So thought about two of the most important factors for our success. And the first thing I think is the most important is passion. And there was the lady last night at the Corks and Forks, when she got up and spoke, she said that she took on this event to be kind of the lead person on that, and she didn't know what she wanted to do, and now she knows that events is her passion. She fell in love with it, and I thought that was really great. The same thing that happened to me when I didn't know what I wanted to do. I found my passion in the restaurant business, and I pursued it. Don't be afraid to constantly try different things that, change major, change jobs inside the major. They say if you really enjoy what you do, if you really love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I absolutely feel the same way because we love what we do every single day.
I believe another reason for our success is relationships. Every year we have an all-staff meeting. You can tell we're a product of Pappas. We like to do that just like they do. I open that all-staff meeting with a quote that we live by. Excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude. I believe that. Relationships are so important. Relationships with our customers, relationships with our staff, our community, relationships. People, we are constantly in our dining area. We are seen. If they have a problem, they can literally reach out and say, Dan, something's not right. I was here last week and something's different about it this week. You know, I ordered the same thing. That is huge to a customer. Being visible, talking to them, knowing their name, knowing about their family, asking them how is your loved one that was sick that you told me about last time. Relationships, so important. Relationships with your employees. It keeps them coming back. So many times we hear the food is excellent. We love to come here. The food is great. But y'all make us feel like a family. We hear that from our employees. We hear that from our customers. It feels like family here. So we love to come back.
So that's the nice thing about having us and our kids and all in the family, because we're always there. If I'm on a catering job, Jen is in the dining room. So it's always critical. Our customers know when they come in our restaurant, they're going to see either her or I there. So we're high-fiving, hugging, and that's the best part about our job is hanging out with our regulars. It's something that we really enjoy. But now we have had some challenges along the way. And I'd definitely say parking has been our biggest challenge. When we bought the property, we're thinking, wow, this is huge. We'll never need any more. But we see over 300 people in our dining area.
Which we have since that original purchase bought 2 other properties that flank our business, and so our parking area has grown greatly.
Right. So as the business grew, we were able to buy the property behind us, as she said, and then it continued to grow. We were able to buy the property right next to us. When there's over 300 people sitting down, and then we have a big line waiting to get in, that could be 200 vehicles that need parking. So we need a lot of parking, and we've been blessed to be able to acquire properties right around us. But parking has been, a lot of times on a Saturday night, I'm a parking attendant because I'm running around, people are calling, we can't find a spot to park, we can't park. So I'm trying to find parking for a lot of people.
And we're lucky, we do have some very nice neighbors, a dentist across the street, that they don't use their parking area after 5 o'clock. So he always allows us to allow our customers to park there. Fine, no problem. An exterminator down the road, park your customers there. You know.
Barbershop that moved down the road, we park vehicles there, so we're able to use a lot of the parking around us. But
yeah,
that's
very nice
been one of our biggest challenges.
Another big challenge was COVID. COVID was big for everyone. One thing we were very fortunate about with COVID was that people were already accustomed to taking our food to go. We do force the customer to take the food to go in January and again in June. The crawfish supply has a lot to do with when we open and close. Supply has to be plentiful enough and quality has to be good enough that it's a product we're willing to serve for us to open that dining room. Normally, to open the dining room, we need about 150 sacks.
Or at least 100 sacks a day to open the dine-in. So yes, that works out really well for us. That's one of the biggest things, changes that we've made along the way. We used to open up everything the same day in January. Well, if there was a freeze that came in, we kept delaying because we need at least 100 sacks a day to open up everything. So what we started doing about 6 years ago as we opened up the drive-thru first, we only need about 30 to 40 sacks a day. And we can get that much easier, and we can get rolling, we can get the kinks out, and then when the supply...
And we can get the best quality that they have to
Exactly. When we needed 100 plus sacks, we were telling our suppliers in Louisiana, send me everything you got. So then at that point, we're culling out 50% of the crawfish that we're getting, and that hits the bottom line. So we were losing lots and lots of money every January. Well, we cull so hard because we're known for having big crawfish, and it's the reputation that's the most important. It pays its dividends down the road. So we're okay losing money early in the season because we make it back down the road. So another big challenge we had was we opened up a second location. We found out really quick that bigger is not better. We always just wanted one location, just wanted to make it the absolute best it could be. But we had Jen's cousins that wanted to open a second location. They lived in Magnolia. The dad had a really nice piece of commercial property right next to the baseball fields. And so they asked us for about a year, and we decided we would give it a shot. If we never tried it, then we'd never know. So we trained them at our restaurant for a year, and we quickly found out that, well, we didn't quickly find out, but we figured that they didn't have the passion for the restaurant business. It was kind of hard for them to walk around and talk to customers. It comes natural for her and I. We love being in the dining area. We love talking to our customers, but we kind of had to push them out there. So we're like, maybe they'll just have the drive-through and it'll be small and it'll work out. Well, it didn't, because they didn't have the passion for it. They were kind of, you know, thought they did, but I would see them both at their kids' t-ball game on a Saturday, which that's the busiest day of the week, which means that they left the restaurant or the business to high school kids. And that location only had high school kids. So I knew that wasn't going to work out, so we closed that at the end of the third season. So that
it also was disheartening to see. I never wanted our franchises to be seen as, yeah, that Ninfa's is okay, but if you go to the Ninfa's on navigation, that's the best one, because that's the original. I didn't want it to be seen like that. So if it couldn't be excellent, I didn't want that for our business. And we had still customers coming from the Woodlands and Conroe and Spring and Magnolia area. I was like, what are you doing here? Why didn't you go to Magnolia? They're like, it's just not the same. I don't know. We like it here. So they were making an hour, sometimes more than an hour drive because they liked it.
So the fourth thing is challenges was with our rapid growth and more employees, we had a few bad apples one season, and we realized that we needed to get rid of bad apples because it'll infest the rest of your team. The morale of our team that year was terrible. It was in our servers, and we normally have amazing chemistry. People love working at the Shack, but that year it was off. Everybody wanted off all the time. Nobody was picking up, so we fired a boyfriend and girlfriend one day and fired the other issue that we had the next week, and from that point on till today, the chemistry and it runs really smooth. You know, it's a good place to work. And
that's another thing that has grown exponentially with our growth as the business size is the number of employees. Today, Crawfish Shack employs anywhere from 92 to 106 employees per season. So we go from 0 to a lot in no time. And so it can be challenging, but we try to pay attention when we're hiring. We ask a lot of poignant questions that tell us a lot about the personality that we're hiring. You don't always get it right, but we do a pretty good job with that.
So some of the things that we found out that really worked for our restaurant is, most important thing is ensure your staff feels valued. We do a lot of perks for our employees. We have a personal relationship with them. We talk to them. They come to us for lots of different issues. This is a big outing we have at the end of the season every year. We take all our employees to the Astros game. We rent a big Greyhound bus. We all load up on there. It's a nice outing. We also have Employee of the Month that we do. About 12 or 13 years ago, I had a new hire, a young guy, that sophomore. This kid was working like nobody had ever seen. And his next year, I told Jen, I was like, we need to reward this guy because he's doing just an incredible job. And so we decided to start our Employee of the Month. So the gentleman that won my first Employee of the Month is sitting right here, my future son-in-law, Brian Ballard. So he was my very first one. That was way before they had started dating, so that so there was no favoritism there, but he's done an amazing job. So our Employee of the Month gets a $100 bill, a $100 gift certificate. We take their picture, we put it all over social media. We have the plaques that we put in the restaurant. So we really,
and Chris is on that wall of fame too. So he's been an employee.
Stat that I got here that I saw that seems very important. It says, according to a recent survey, 78% of restaurant owners and managers say they don't have enough staff to support current demand. So staffing is the #1 issue in about 80% of the restaurants. So that's why we put this number one. Make sure your team feels valued. It's extremely important.
Give them a reason to keep coming back every day.
Another thing that's worked extremely well, and that was part of it what you saw at the beginning, is we use all the free social media available. You know, or all the free marketing available also. TV stations, we've been extremely blessed with all the networks here have come out, newspapers, magazines, Texas Monthly. We've had multiple food TV shows come out. So we've had a massive amount of free marketing that we've been able to take advantage of that hasn't cost us a dime. We don't call anybody, but we certainly don't turn anyone away. We make accommodations to make sure that we can bring in them because that basically becomes like our advertising and marketing budget. We would much rather do things like that than have to spend money on billboards or anything else.
Facebook has been an incredible marketing tool for us. I opened our first Facebook page in 2009, sitting at my desk at my office, and I called him and said, we're going to do this to put some pictures and get the exposure out there so we can get some more people in the restaurant. And he was like, oh, whatever. I opened it hoping he would deal with it. He would learn it and he would use it. He never did. So it was me. I'm always the behind the Facebook. So if you see that, you can tell if it's him who posts or me. You're like, oh, Dan's got the Facebook page. But our original Facebook page was actually hacked last fall, and we couldn't get back in it. It was a bit terrifying. We would never make this mistake again, but we only had one administrator on the page, and it was him, who wasn't even the administrator, it was me. So we learned a lot from that experience. Facebook in Austin did help us tremendously. They actually got us the page back. But I had to open a new page in the midst of all of that because we were getting ready to roll into our 20-year anniversary season, and I couldn't let the customers just be in limbo, wondering what are we doing. So I opened a new Facebook page, and we don't have near as many followers on that page, so it's at Crawfish Shack Crosby. If you want to follow that page, we'd sure appreciate it. We had 78,000 followers on our original Facebook page. On this one, I believe we have 3,500 right now, which it's growing. That's how Facebook works, though. You post something and it goes viral and everybody likes it. So Facebook's been an amazing tool. Absolutely, she was right.
Another thing is constant coaching of your employees. You know, there's a saying that the customer is always right. That's not always the case. We have sometimes we'll have rough customers out there that are cussing, that are rude to our employees, intoxicated. We back our employees, but one of the things that we kind of train to is to kill them with kindness. That works really, really well. If the customer is being rude, smile, be friendly. Obviously, if it gets out of hand, they're coming to get us, and we're going to take charge there. But one of the things we do is kill them with kindness. Another thing is to focus on the food. I mean, that's why they're coming. You're a restaurant. Focus on the food. Everything has got to be perfect. Sample the food. Make sure, you know, there's issues where if something, our restaurant gets packed immediately. If there's something that's not right from the beginning and a customer tells us 30 minutes later when we have a packed dining room, we've already had so many plates going out, then it's a big problem. So make sure you focus on the food. Make sure each day your product is good and ready to go. Address online reviews, good or bad. Thank the reviews that you have. You know, when people are looking for a new place to eat, a lot of times they're going to check the rating. The rating is critically important. We work hard to do that. We reply to the bad reviews. We understand, tell them the corrective action that we're going to take. A lot of times they may remove that bad review off of there. So don't just avoid it. Make sure you're addressing the good and the bad reviews. Okay.
Are we okay on time?
Don't fight innovation. That's a big one, to embrace technology. That's something that I am not good about. I'm old school. I hate change, or I fight change. But thank God she is. And
when I came on board full time, that was one of the first things that I wanted was technology. I wanted to upgrade. I wanted iPads. I wanted faster and, you know, expedite the process here. And he fought me tooth and nail, but we hammered it out, and the way all good couples do, and we now have that innovation, and it has helped tremendously. I think he would agree. He would never go back now.
Another thing, work can be fun. Our employees have a good time. They cut up, they'll have balloon fights, water balloon fights, and all kinds of stuff. Another thing that, one of the biggest things our guys in the back like to do is we have kind of a little initiation thing going on that some of our veterans have done over the years, that the new hires eat a live crawfish. So,
yeah.
This is not forced upon anybody.
It's not forced, but they do it to fit in. And
but the existing employees and the new employees, it really is a bonding thing for them. They absolutely love it. The new hires, they want to kind of join the team. So it's absolutely nothing that we pressure them on, but 90% of them do it, or at least try to do it. So
we're extremely busy. So when we're really busy, they're working hard. These kids are good kids. Where they could be out partying, they're here, and they are working so hard with these crowds. But when we have time to relax and bond, we make sure that we allow that.
I think that's why our hiring is so well. With the biggest problem in the restaurant business being staffing, we don't have any, almost none, issues with it, because our existing employees, 90% of the people that we hire are referrals from our existing employees.
Or they come back year after year after year.
Well, the new hires, it's a fun working environment, so that's something we've been really proud of. Another thing is be active in the community. I mean, Crosby is a small town, so it obviously wouldn't be as important in a place like Houston, but we're extremely active in the community. We serve on boards there. We're very active in the school district and all the clubs. We give back tremendously to all the churches and all the charities and all the fundraisers that are in, and served on the board for the Crosby Education since we started that about 11 years ago. That's a real near and dear to our heart. So that's, we definitely give back to the community. We're very, very involved in the community. We're also supporters on the campus here. We've been big supporters of the business college with Wolf Fest, the entrepreneurship program. We've been with that program for about 10 or 11 years with the Wolf Fest that they have every year in March. We have Crawfish Shack set up over there. We donate 100% of everything for the 3 days that the business is open. And we usually sell about 1,000 pounds of crawfish, which goes right into the program every year.
They train in our restaurant, and they do a great job.
Another thing that we're extremely proud of is the endowment that we started here about 10 years ago, because Jen and I love the education that we got here, and we're very appreciative of. We started an endowment here about 10 years ago, so we give $5,000 of that every year that helps current students. So that's something we're very, very proud of also. All right, so a couple of mentors that we'd like to mention real quick.
I would say definitely J.R. Noble from PAP 2 on I-10, now DOE 16, I believe it is. He transferred over there and now he's stepped back. Had some health issues. He was tough when we were working for him. We all thought sometimes we walked away a little bruised and hurt because he wasn't gentle sometimes. But when we look back at people that poured into us in our lives, he was amazing. Lots of professors and people here. I mean, we've been extremely blessed. Lots of mentors.
JR was definitely one of my biggest mentors also. Very stern, but after we left the restaurant, we realized how good we were to have him as our general manager, and we took everything with us as we went. Definitely my biggest mentor has been my dad. He's been with me constantly, every single thing. He's been right there by my side. Anything to do with investing in real estate. Obviously, he helped build the Crawfish Shack. He's also my best man in my wedding. So he's been my biggest mentor to this day. In closing, our future plans of Crawfish Shack is to pass it down to the 4 people that are here in front of us here today. That would be a dream for our legacy to continue. That's what our goal is, and that's what we're working towards. And with that, we would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions. We can start anywhere you want. I'm going to ask the very first question. Okay, because you knew I was going to ask this question. We've been talking about this since the first time I talked to Dan and Jennifer about doing this presentation. I said, and you're going to laugh because I'm going to call Dan out on this. My first question to Dan is, okay, you say in all your literature that you sell more crawfish than any other freestanding restaurant in the United States. How many pounds? Dan looks at me or on the phone and says, I don't know. He said, how do you not know? And when I had Jennifer on the phone, she said, oh, of course I know. And I said, if you don't have the answer, it's going to be the first question that comes out in the room. So I'm putting the question out. So how many pounds?
In 2023 season, we boiled 420,000 pounds. 2019, we did 480,000. So our seasons are tracking back up after COVID, but not quite on the mark with our busiest peak year yet.
So 480,000 pounds in 6 months.
So I kind of worry about what we do on a daily. I don't worry about
He's making excuses.
So on a good Saturday, we're boiling 6,000 pounds. So yes, that is more than any restaurant, including Louisiana, where all the crawfish come from actually. So.
And then you're going to add in live sales and catering and things like that. It can get 10, 12,000 pounds very, very easy for a very busy day. It's awesome. It's a blessing.
Never dreamed we'd get to this level.
Never. We look out there still today and we're like, whoa, wow, where did this come from?
So then wait, right here.
You guys said that you worked for Pappas. Actually, all 3 of us work for Pappas, and we are wondering, or I'm wondering, sorry, not me, collective, but your training program. I really appreciate Pappas' training program. I think they go really in depth about everything as well as the development. Do you guys kind of not take, but
similar,
you know,
but we can't train until the guest is in position. So we're in a little bit different position than most restaurants, because we need the guest to be in the restaurant doing what the guest does in order for us to train. So we normally, on servers, we only hire experienced servers, and so they don't need us to teach them the mechanics of waiting tables. All they need to learn is our menu, which we've told you is extremely simple, our way of doing it. Training program usually lasts about 3 days for experienced servers, and like I said, there is no other way than to throw you in. Day 1, there's 200 people waiting outside and every table is full, and there is no time for you to choke. So you gotta be ready to hit the ground running. Training can be stressful, but
So the first day, they're going to shadow a
Right.
veteran.
Completely shadow first
Right,
day.
so they're just kind of getting the feel of the craziness and the environment and seeing how they interact with the customers and the computer. The second day, they're going to be doing everything with the trainer shadowing them, and then the third day they're on their own, usually if they're ready.
With a shadow.
With a two-table section.
And we do also have a lot of literature, lots of things for you to study on your own. So very similar to Pappas. Yes, yes. Lots of information for you to, but if you're already an experienced server, that's what you're doing. You know, you're just learning our way.
I have a two-part question, and it's about staff retention. So what percentage of your staff that comes back in January would you say are reoccurring? And then at that, is it a struggle to get reoccurring staff because they have to fill another position from July to December?
No, actually, we are fortunate with the Crosby School District, Crosby and Huffman. Our business sits in the middle of these two towns, and we draw a lot of high school employees that start at 16, and they don't need a year-round position at that point. So they come back every season until they graduate high school, and then they go to college, and by that time, the wait staff makes extremely good money at our restaurant, and so it's worth them coming back. We do have wait staff that drive from College Station, Texas State, some from...
they come in on the weekends.
They come in from so far away. Come in on the weekends, come in on Thursday nights, work their schedule completely around it to be able to work at Crawfish Shack. So about 62%, I would say, are returning employees every year, and then the rest are new hires. Normally, it is the younger generation, the hostesses, busboys, you know, purgers, line staff, that we are hiring new, and the wait staff is usually all recurring. Lots of kitchen guys are recurring. We are fortunate to keep some employees
10 to 12 years.
Yeah, 6 to 12 years. We have one that has been with us 16 seasons. She waits tables 2 nights a week. She has a full-time job in the oil and gas industry, and she has a son, and she's still with us every season.
Sounds like fun.
First of all, thank y'all so much for coming and talking to us today. We all really appreciate it. I guess I'm speaking for everybody. As somebody who leads a seasonal team, I manage like a summer camp team, about like 10 to 15 people. What are some like really good ways to kind of like sift through like applications and like kind of know what kind of person you're hiring before the season even starts?
We pretty much, all of our applications, we usually get about 60 to 80 applications each off-season, and we pretty much bring in all the applications that we get for a first interview, first impression, to meet them kind of face-to-face. And then we go through all those applications and decide who we're going to bring back for a second interview.
I have a list of first interview questions that delve into personality traits and things that they may not realize what I'm asking them, but it tells me a lot about the person, and those are the people that, you know, that's how we decide we're going to bring that one back. And sometimes we'll be like, I think maybe he was a little bit too nervous, so let's give him one more shot. Second interview is much more detailed, much more information, and so we try very hard, and we get it right a lot on the hiring. So.
So what would you say is the biggest risk you've taken that has been worthwhile since you've opened up the restaurant? I know that it was a risk to like actually go and open it in the first place, but what do you really, or what are you really glad that you actually did after that?
Probably me quitting. Well, I was the year-round income. I was the insurance. I was the retirement plan. I was the steady part of the family. So that was hard. I would say that was tough for us to be self-insured in this market that we're in right now. You know, it's tough. So that was a huge challenge for us. But it's been well worth it.
So, awesome. Okay. So I'm still very curious about the recruitment process. What would you say one of your favorite questions to ask is when you're hiring?
I know, now I'm not going to be able to think here. I should have brought that with me. I like team player questions. I like to know, do you like to work by yourself? Do you like to be part of a team? How do you feel if we're very, very busy and I'm gonna ask you, please, my bussers are, you know, going crazy, they're cleaning tables right now, I need you to go in there and clean up that restroom. How are you gonna respond to me? Is that your job or is that not your job? And sometimes they say, oh, no, I don't clean restrooms. I'm like, okay, no. and I tell them in the all staff, I'm like, if I can clean a restroom, you better believe you can clean a restroom. It takes the whole entire team. So I like a lot of team-based questions that tell me how you're going to react if I ask you to step into another position. If I have a kitchen girl that gets ill in the middle of the shift and I have to send her home and I'm going to pull you off of the hostess stand to fill that position, how are you going to react to me when we're just helping hold the team up? So I hope that answers your question.
When operating a restaurant seasonally with like Crawfish, what are you guys doing the other 6 months of the year?
Very good question. So that's probably the best part of what we do is that it's seasonal. We get to work with our family throughout the season, and then we just basically turn it off, close the valve, and then we vacation together, we recharge. But we also rent our building out. We closed it up for the whole summer because it's very hot and we don't have a lot of AC there because of the times that we're open more in the spring. And then we rent it out September, October, November, December. It rents almost every Saturday in the off-season for private parties. All we do is open it up. They do their own catering. You know, we usually don't do any of the cooking, and they have their own private parties there.
We pretty much get blown apart during the season. We go from spending a lot of very quality time together to spending a lot of time together, but in a very different way. Every conversation, every dinner becomes about the restaurant, about things we're going to do, issues we're having, things we need to change. Every conversation, every focus becomes about the restaurant. So
we're completely consumed for 5 months out the year. So it's really nice that we can have that time to recharge, for sure.
We also let a lot of organizations use the restaurant in the off-season for fundraisers, things like that. Project Graduation actually has a chili cook-off going on next week there. So
I have a question. Sorry. Y'all are very like happy, smooth relationship, but it wasn't. It wasn't always like that. So how did y'all create like that balance between work, y'all's parents, being happy?
I will tell you, because of the history that I just explained to you, I was in an industry where I was the boss. I was managing a group of people. I had my own thing going on, and he asked me to come over here, and I told him, we are going to have to stay in our lanes because we're both boss mentality. You know, we both want to do it our way. So we have, over the years, had to really learn to shove each other back into your lane. You know, no, this is my place. I'll take your suggestions. I want to hear your feedback. But when I make a decision, this is what we're going to do. And he does that for his kitchen and his catering and his back of the house, and I do that for the front of the house. So we've learned to stay in our lanes for each other.
It's definitely worked out. During the week, she's there at the beginning of the shift, and I run everything during the week when it's not so crazy.
Not every we have 2 grandbabies, as you saw. I like to keep the grandbabies, so we make the girls work.
But on the weekends, when it's really busy, we kind of split the restaurant in half. I take all of the back of the house, and she takes all the front of the house, which is the servers, the customers, the busboys, the hostesses, everything on the dine-in side, and I take everything on the back of the house. Of course, the kitchen, the to-go, the purgers, the cooks, everything to do like that, the drive-through also. So it works perfect that we split the restaurant in half during the crazy, crazy times.
And obviously the first month or so of the season, we're training so much, all hands are on deck. So it just depends on what point we are in the season.
So as we finish up, I have one very quick question, and then we're going to move to the meet and greet. But you've mentioned this a couple times. What the heck is a purger?
Good question. So that's one of the things I could have probably put that sets us apart. A purger is a guy that cleans the crawfish. Okay, these crawfish are coming from, they call them mud bugs. So they're in very shallow ponds, about 10 inches of water. They're really rice fields that are flooded. And so when the crawfish come in, they're dirty. So they've been in the mud, and we have these purging tanks that we fill them up with water. We dump the crawfish in. They're soaking on each side, 2 sacks on each side, and then we dump them onto a culling table. And the purgers, there's 4.
It's called a purging tank.
So there's 4 purgers around a table, and they're culling through the crawfish. They're putting the smaller dead in one sack and the big and live in another. From that point, those good crawfish are tied up, and then they go into what's called an aerator tank, which is like a big jacuzzi. So there's air running through this water tank, and they stay in there for an hour and a half, and they clean the crawfish extremely well. Something we take really big pride in. And you know, sometimes if you eat the crawfish and you taste that grit, those crawfish were not cleaned properly. So we're one of the very, very few that actually have aerator tanks at our restaurant.
Well, I want to thank the 2 of you, and thank you for your presentations, and thank you for your time. Absolutely spectacular. So, one tradition we have at Eric's Club, and it's been since the very beginning, is that we present the speakers with an Eric's Club chair. So you will see over here there are 2 matching chairs. These are not Dan and Jennifer's chairs because they've already gotten their chairs, and I've seen pictures of them in their house. But these are 2 that remain at the college. And I just want you all to know about it because we're thrilled that you took the time, etc. What the other thing we will do very quickly is we're going to take those 2 chairs, we're going to take Dan and Jennifer, we're going to take all the members of Eric's Club, and we're going to take a picture. We have done this every time for the more than 40 years, 40 lectures that we've done. So we'll do that real quickly, and then right after that, outside, we will have Dan and Jennifer and all the members of Eric's Club for a meet and greet. We recommend really highly that you come spend some time with us. If you have an interest in a particular, if you want to talk to Dan and Jennifer, you obviously know their backgrounds. If you have an interest in any particular field, ask any Eric's Club member who is the best person to talk to. Okay, so for the sake of discussion, you asked me, if you're interested in restaurants, I'm going to refer you to Richard Weil, I'm going to refer you to Jeremy Volatis, to Doug Brooks, et cetera, and many others. So we're more than glad to do that. But please come and take some time and spend some time with us for the next hour outside. I'm going to ask all the Eric's Club members to come up front so we can take a picture. And thank you all very much.